These are the 12 Harbor Freight December deals you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. December at Harbor Freight is a different world. Prices drop, hidden bargains surface, and the smartest shoppers grab tools the rest of the year can't touch. But here's the twist. Most people walk right past the biggest December savings because they assume they already know the good deals. They don't, and that blind spot has quietly cost them hundreds. Today, you're finally going to see the deals that separate the casual browsers from the people who actually understand Harbor Freight. And once you see what December really hides, you'll never shop the same way again. Let's start with deal number 12, the one almost everyone overlooks. The Pittsburgh 301-piece Mechanics Toolkit. Number 12 slips under the radar for most shoppers. The Pittsburgh 301-piece Mechanics Toolkit. On any other month, it's just another box on the shelf. But in December, it becomes a quiet reality check. Because the moment you look at it with fresh eyes, you realize something uncomfortable. You've probably spent more on random tools throughout the year than this entire kit costs right now. Think about how many times you grabbed a single socket because you couldn't find the right one, a lone extension, a mismatched ratchet, little emergency purchases that felt harmless, but strung together, they've drained far more money than you're willing to admit. And that stings, because you believed you were being smart, building your setup piece by piece like a responsible tool buyer. December exposes the flaw in that logic. This deal slaps down the truth. The complete kit costs less than the trail of replacements, duplicates, and impulse buys you've made trying to avoid buying a real set. And that's why this deal matters. When December hits, the price drops into "why didn't I do this years ago" territory. One box, every socket you need, every driver, every extension, all backed by a lifetime guarantee that quietly outclasses half the premium brands people brag about. It's the kind of deal that doesn't just fill your toolbox. It fixes the mistakes you didn't realize you were making. And if that feels like a wake-up call, wait until number 11. The deal powerful enough to keep your entire home running when everything else goes dark. The Predator 65, 100 to 8750 watt generators. Number 11 isn't just a deal, it's a slap in the face for anyone who has ever waited out a winter storm with a flashlight and a false sense of confidence. The Predator generator lineup, from 6,500 watts up to the beefy 8750, becomes a completely different animal in December. Prices drop, stock moves fast, and suddenly, the thing you kept telling yourself you don't really need becomes the thing you wish you had bought years ago. Because here's the truth people don't like to admit. Every storm, every outage, every blackout exposes how fragile your comfort actually is. You think you'll be fine until the house goes quiet, the heater stops, the fridge warms, and your phone is clinging to its last few percent, like it's negotiating for its life. And in that moment, all the excuses, "I'll buy one next year," "they're expensive," "I'll risk it," feel embarrassingly small. December doesn't care about your excuses. December is when Harbor Freight drops the kind of pricing that rips the last remaining justification right out of your hands. These Predator generators deliver enough power to run essentials, charge tools, keep the heat flowing, or keep a job site alive, all with a reliability record that has quietly embarrassed far pricier brands for years. And when the December sale hits, the price lands in a range where not buying one feels reckless. This is the deal that turns maybe one day into, "I should have done this before the last outage." It's the moment you step from wishful thinking into actual preparedness. And if you think that's eye-opening, number 10 is the cordless wake-up call that exposes how much you've overpaid all year without even realizing it. The Bauer 20-volt cordless bundles. Number 10 is the cordless reality check almost nobody sees coming, the Bauer 20-volt bundles. Every year, people pour money into the big-name brands, convinced that the bright colors and flashy marketing automatically make the work easier. Meanwhile, Bauer sits quietly on the shelf, waiting for December, the one month when its value becomes impossible to ignore. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. For 11 months, you've been buying into the hype. You've been paying brand tax, not tool performance. You've let labels and reputations convince you that drilling a hole or driving a screw somehow requires a prestige logo. But when December hits Harbor Freight, Bauer flips that entire narrative upside down. This is the month when the bundles get ruthless. A drill driver, an impact driver, a charger, and a battery, or sometimes two, drop to the kind of price that makes you realize you've been overspending on cordless tools for years. And the worst part? Bauer performs. It's tough, it's reliable, and for the average DIYer, homeowner, or weekend mechanic, it does everything the premium brands do without torching your paycheck. December exposes how much money you've wasted pretending you needed top-shelf tools for jobs that never required them. Bauer is the antidote to that pride. The moment your ego and your wallet collide, and your wallet finally wins. And if that hits a nerve, number 9 is going to sting even harder, because it challenges everything you think you know about professional hand tools. The Doyle pliers and hand tool deals. Number 9 is where many people's pride starts to wobble, the Doyle hand tool discounts. For years, you've heard the same story. Real professionals only use the premium brands. You know the ones. The brands with prices so high, you feel like you're paying for the steel, the logo, and half the company's advertising budget in one swipe. But December at Harbor Freight doesn't care about sacred cows. December reveals something most shoppers don't want to admit. Doyle has quietly closed the gap. The grips feel solid, the steel is strong, the cuts are clean. And in December, the price drops to a level that makes those legendary tool truck pliers look like overpriced souvenirs. This is where the ego hit lands, because the moment you hold a pair of Doyle cutters or pump pliers and realize they perform at a level dangerously close to the brands you've been proudly showing off, you're forced to face the truth. You may have been paying premium prices out of habit, not necessity. December makes that realization sting even more. The discounts turn Doyle into one of the highest value per dollar lines in the entire store. Professionals know it. Serious hobbyists know it. And December is the month when everyone else finally stops pretending and admits it too. But if this deal shakes your confidence, number 8 is about to crush it entirely, because it challenges the most expensive myth in the entire garage: the Daytona floor jacks. Number 8 is the moment the tool truck loyalists start sweating: the Daytona floor jack deals. This is the heavyweight of Harbor Freight's December lineup, the one that exposes a truth many mechanics never want to face. You didn't need to spend triple the price for a jack that lifts exactly the same way. For years, the premium floor jack brands have held the throne through reputation alone: the name, the color, the myth, and plenty of people bought into it, proudly dropping a small fortune on something that at the end of the day has one job: go up, go down, and not crush you while doing it. Then Daytona showed up. Same lifting power, same stability, same build quality. In some cases, better. And when December hits, the price difference becomes so aggressive it's almost insulting. As if Harbor Freight is holding up a mirror and saying, "Look at what you could have paid." The ego hit here is brutal. Every mechanic who once swore by the overpriced legend suddenly has to justify why the shop apprentice just bought a Daytona jack for a fraction of the cost. And it performs like a gladiator. December discounts take that embarrassment and amplify it. This is the deal that separates the people who care about performance from the people who care about brand identity. One lifts your vehicle, the other lifts your ego. December makes you choose which one really matters. And if you thought that stung, number 7 is about to hit even deeper, because it takes aim at the crown jewel of the tool truck world: the Icon ratchets and wrench sets. Number 7 is where the tool world's pride starts cracking: the Icon ratchets and wrench sets. These are the tools that turned Harbor Freight from a bargain store into a genuine threat. And December is when that threat becomes undeniable, because every year, this is the month when people realize they've been paying luxury prices for performance that Icon now delivers at a fraction of the cost. For decades, the tool trucks ruled through psychology: the pitch, the van, the weekly payment plan, all wrapped in tradition and prestige. And if you've ever stepped onto one of those trucks, you know how easy it is to believe you're investing in something sacred. But then Icon walked in, cool and unbothered, with polish, precision, and build quality that sends a shiver down the spines of the legacy brands. December is when the illusion truly breaks. The ratchets feel as smooth as anything you've handled. The wrenches grip like they're carved from stubborn steel. And the price tag, especially in December, hits like a revelation. Suddenly, the premium name on your old tools starts to look less like a badge of honor and more like a receipt for a financial mistake you didn't need to make. And that's the real sting. Icon doesn't just compete, It embarrasses the belief that only tool truck brands deserve respect. Professionals know it, shops know it, and in December, anyone with a functioning sense of value is forced to acknowledge it too. But if this deal shakes your faith in the old hierarchy, number 6 is about to slice right through what you thought you knew about power tools. The Hercules 12-inch dual bevel miter saw. Number 6 is where the power tool purists start gripping their branded coffee mugs a little tighter. The Hercules 12-inch dual bevel miter saw. For years, people have sworn loyalty to the big yellow and blue giants, convinced that only those names are capable of cutting straight, true, and fast. But December has a way of leveling the playing field, and Hercules steps onto that field like it's been underestimated for way too long. This saw isn't pretending. It's not trying to look professional. It is professional. The motor roars with intention. The bevel adjustments snap confidently into place, and the cuts, clean enough to make someone question every overpriced purchase they've made in the past decade. And that's where the ego hit comes in. You realize the only thing separating Hercules from the premium brands was your belief, not the performance. December makes that realization even harder to swallow. The price drops into a range that feels almost confrontational, like Harbor Freight is daring you to cling to your old assumptions. You can't argue with the cut capacity. You can't argue with the power. You can't argue with the finish. The only thing you could argue with was the price. And December takes that excuse away in one clean stroke. This is the deal that makes seasoned woodworkers pause, makes beginners feel like pros, and makes loyalists rethink everything they thought they knew about real saws. When the December sale hits, Hercules doesn't just compete, it dominates. And before we move on, if you're getting value out of this breakdown and want to stay ahead of the deals everyone else misses, hit like, subscribe, and keep your edge sharp, because the next one is about to transform your entire workspace. And if this saw shook your confidence, number 5 is going to shake your entire workshop, because it's the deal that turns chaos into a truly professional setup. The US General Tool Cabinets and Roller Chests. Number 5 isn't just a deal, it's a declaration. The US General Tool Cabinets and Roller Chests are the moment you stop treating your workspace like a temporary project and start treating it like a real garage. December is the month when these steel giants drop into a price range that makes every other storage brand look wildly out of touch. For years, people assumed professional tool storage had to come from the same 3 or 4 overpriced brands. They believed quality lived behind a premium badge, and anything else was just pretending. But then, US General rolled in smooth drawers, thick steel, weight capacity that laughs at your heaviest tools, and finish options that make your whole shop look more serious than your budget ever suggested. And here's where the tension hits. You start remembering the flimsy boxes you settled for in the past, the drawers that stuck, the cheap rails that rattled, the cabinets you outgrew before you even finished organizing. You didn't buy those because they were good. You bought them because you believed quality storage was out of reach. December at Harbor Freight destroys that belief. The price drop is so dramatic it feels like a second chance. The moment you finally give your tools the home they deserve. One cabinet can transform your workflow. A full combo can transform your entire mindset. Suddenly, your garage doesn't feel like a juggling act. It feels like a command center. This is the deal that turns chaos into control, frustration into flow, and a cluttered space into a workshop you're proud to step into. And if leveling up your workspace feels powerful, number 4 is about to hit you with a legend, the most talked about bargain in Harbor Freight history, the Pittsburgh Torque Wrench. Number 4 is a legend, the Pittsburgh Torque Wrench. Not because it's flashy, not because it's hyped, but because it quietly exposes a truth most people never want to admit. For years, you've been tightening bolts on pure hope and misplaced confidence. And December is the moment Harbor Freight reminds you that good enough is not actually good enough. You've heard the stories, you've seen the memes, you've watched people debate torque accuracy like it's some mystical science only the expensive brands can master. But here's the punch. Every year, December rolls in and drops the price of this wrench so low, it becomes impossible to justify guessing torque ever again. Suddenly, precision isn't a luxury, it's cheaper than your last takeout. Order, that's the ego hit. Because once you use this thing, you realize how many repairs you've risked, how many bolts you've over-tightened, how many you've left just loose enough to haunt you later, and the wrench itself, it performs. It clicks clean, it stays consistent, and it proves brutally that the idea of only premium torque wrenches are accurate was a story you inherited, not a fact you verified. December makes this tool a no-excuses, no-brainer deal. Anyone doing automotive work, machinery maintenance, motorcycle repairs, even simple DIY, suddenly gets professional-grade precision at a price that mocks the industry. This is the moment where confidence becomes competence, and competence becomes peace of mind. And if you think accuracy matters, number 3 is going to light a fire under everything you thought you knew about real welding power: the Vulcan welders and welding accessories. Number 3 is where everything starts heating up, literally. The Vulcan welders and welding accessories are the deal that blows apart one of the biggest myths in the tool world, that serious welding requires a wallet-crushing machine from a big-name brand. December at Harbor Freight is the month that myth finally melts under its own weight. For years, people have looked at affordable welders like they were toys, something you buy for a quick project, not a real build. Meanwhile, Vulcan has been sitting there with machines that spark up smooth, hold a steady arc, and fuse metal like they have something to prove, because they do. And December gives them the stage. Here's where the ego punch lands. The moment you see how clean the bead is, how stable the puddle is, and how confidently the machine holds its power, you're forced to confront a painful possibility. Maybe you weren't paying for performance all those years. Maybe you were paying for branding and nostalgia. December makes that realization impossible to ignore. Vulcan welders, helmets, gloves, clamps, wire, everything drops into a price range that turns "someday I'll learn welding" into "I could be welding this weekend." The gap between beginner and professional suddenly shrinks, and the biggest barrier, cost, gets wiped out in one stroke. This is the deal that turns curiosity into capability, and capability into creation. It's the moment you stop watching other people build things and start building them yourself. And if you think welding gear is surprising, number 2 is the deal that guards everything you've ever bought and does it for a fraction of what the big brands charge: the Apache weatherproof cases. Number 2 is the silent protector, the Apache weatherproof cases. The deal almost nobody talks about until they realize how much they've risked without one. Cameras, drones, firearms, tools, hard drives, emergency gear, all the stuff you assume is safe, floating around in a backpack, a drawer, or the backseat of your truck. December makes that assumption look reckless. Because here's the truth: a single drop, a single splash, a single rough bump can ruin gear worth hundreds or even thousands. But most people don't think about protection until after something breaks. And when they do finally go shopping, they see the prices from the other brand, the one that charges so much you feel like you're buying a luxury apartment for your tools. Then you pick up an Apache case. It locks down solid. The foam is customizable. It seals tight enough to laugh at the weather. And in December, the price for these cases drops so low, you start questioning why you ever thought protecting your gear had to be expensive. That's the ego sting. Realizing you could have protected everything you own for a fraction of what you assumed, and you didn't. The December deals on Apache cases turn high-end protection into a budget-friendly no-brainer. You're not just buying a box, you're buying the peace of mind that comes from knowing your gear is safe, no matter what happens. And if you think protecting your equipment is important, just wait. Number 1 isn't a tool, it's the secret key that unlocks the biggest savings Harbor Freight hides all year. The Inside Track Club, December, Mega Advantage. Number 1 is the twist nobody expects, because the best December deal at Harbor Freight isn't a tool, it's the Inside Track Club, the single thing that separates the people who merely shop Harbor Freight from the people who master it. And December is when the gap between those two groups becomes painfully clear. For 11 months, you've watched prices rise and fall, grabbed a coupon here and there, maybe even felt proud when you scored a decent discount. But December exposes the truth. Everything you thought you knew about Harbor Freight savings was the surface level, the amateur tier. Because the real heavy-hitting deals, the ones that make grown adults leave the store grinning like they robbed the register, are locked behind the Inside Track Club. And this is where the ego punch hits hardest. Because while you were paying shelf price, someone else, Someone standing 3 feet away from you, holding the same tool, was paying far less. Not because they were lucky, not because they found a secret coupon, but because they had access, and you didn't. December supercharges that advantage. The discounts go deeper. The bundles get wilder. The early access becomes a weapon. Tool cabinets, welders, jacks, cordless bundles. Everything you've seen in this video drops to prices that feel almost unfair to anyone on the outside. It's not just a membership, it's a cheat code disguised as a key card. And here's the part most people never admit. Once you join, you instantly understand why the pros never shop without it. You stop overpaying. You stop hesitating. You start winning every single time you walk through the door. December doesn't just make the Inside Track Club worth it. December makes it unavoidable for anyone who actually wants the best deals Harbor Freight has to offer. This is the moment where everything clicks. The moment you stop watching the savings and start taking them. So, if you want more breakdowns of the deals everyone else overlooks, and the ones Harbor Freight hopes you don't notice, hit like, subscribe, and get ready. The next wave of savings is closer than you think.